La, 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 la. Boom. Bada bing. Bada bing. Do, do, do. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Today is January 26th in the year 2023. What a story, what a story, what a story. We're going to talk about Bryan Johnson. I bet you never heard of him, right? Because he gets labeled. How you doing? My name is Marcus Conti, and we're going to have a great show today. We're talking about pushing the envelope on your life. You say, well, my life's fine, Conti. What are you talking about, man? What are you pushing your shit on me for, man? Don't push no envelope on me. I'm not pushing an envelope on you. What I'm showing you today is an amazing human being, right? This is what Bryan Johnson, maybe not exactly, but in some form or another, we should all aspire to be Bryan Johnson. Very, very holy man, very spiritual man, whether he knows it or not. But here's a guy who he made $800 million selling a company to eBay, and he cashed out. He took his $800 million, and what did he do with it? He invested in himself, and he's trying at age 45 to see if he can push the boundaries of human wellness. Quantitatively, can you measure it? Can human could the advancement of the human species, right? You take, for example, if you take a sloppy, old, out of shape 45-year-old, can you transform this 45-year-old human into something incredibly, amazing, in the sense of the guy has a sense of wellness, right? See, that's where we may differ with Bryan Johnson. Mr. Johnson is again a billionaire, millionaire, 800 millionaire, who is using teams of doctors, teams of biometric medical analysis, colonoscopies, all kinds of blood analysis tests, very, very precise vegan diet, multiple supplementation, not extreme, but real exercise, somewhat meditation, and he's using all these things. He's mixing it all together to make his life better. Now, it's widely the argument in a study like this is, what is the measure of wellness? What is the measure of wellness? Do you need $2 million a year to pay doctors and precise diet, or is it something more rather simple? The elimination of the toxins in the body, and anybody can do it. Enlightenment for anybody, right? But what is the measure? Do you measure it in terms of biometrics, SMAC 20 blood samples, and looking at what creatinine is and what is fucking the iron levels and all the glucose, whatever? Is this the right way to go, or is there something greater, a feeling of wellness? If you've never experienced the feeling of wellness, then you don't know what it is. I've described it in Buddhist circles, and I've gotten, the squinty lemon face, but it is a sense of wellness, but it's connected to joy and inner feeling of good, to feel good most of the time. And when you're not feeling good, you know what to do with it. Euphoria. A real sense of euphoria. And I think Bryan Johnson, as we're going to see, is experiencing that. But I like this guy. I stumbled on him this morning, and it's Zoot Cooter says, Bryan Johnson of AC/DC. No. I thought so too. It's not him. It's the other Bryan Johnson. It's this guy right here. Right, and this is not homoerotica. This is a real guy, right? He did a whole video with no shirt on, and you see his 45-year-old muscular body. Very, very fascinating individual. I think this is going to be an interesting exploration. And of course, if Bryan Johnson wants to come on the show and talk to us, little people about what he's doing, we're very, very interested in his quest for longevity and fitness. So we're going to explore this guy. My name is Marcus Conte. I have a fascinating website on enlightenment, slowly becoming that. MarcusConte.com. Every morning we're live, no matter what. We get up and we do it. 9 a.m., no notification necessary, live every morning at 9 a.m. right here on YouTube. If that doesn't happen, we move over to DLive. Either way, MarcusConte.com at 9 a.m. Come over, and you'll know exactly where we are. If you're already on YouTube, then you know where we are because you're getting the thumbnail pops up in your stream, your subscriptions. So I have a tip jar and a Patreon link. If you'd like to contribute to this program, go ahead and do it. PayPal, Patreon, and let's begin. And good morning to everybody in the chat. I almost forgot to say good morning. Vinny DiMartini in the house. Weevil Girl in the house. Weevil Girl is here. Chris Milk is in the house. Jim Gerard, Champs, David Brown, Zoot Suit Cooter, Michael Sly. In the house, Cassafilly Camden, my brother from north of Philadelphia. So welcome everybody. This is the story again. The Tech Monger. Thank you, New York Post, for bringing this to my attention. I wouldn't have caught it any other way. Here they are, the New York Post, trying to smear the guy a little bit, or not necessarily smear him, but mock him a little bit. Tech Monger. Bryan Johnson, 45 years old, spends $2 million per year to get 18-year-old body. I would say that if you think that that's all it is just pay $2 million and boom, you get a body, like you're going to Walmart buying a teenage body. That's not exactly what it is. So the headline itself is $2 million plus a serious, deep conviction in what you're doing and exerting yourself in that way as a superhuman, species, superhuman sample. So let's find out who this guy is. You're gonna love this guy. So middle-aged software developer worth 9 figures says he spends $2 million a year to biohack his body into regaining his youth. So if you got 800 million, what's 2 million a year? It's nothing. It's a spit in the bucket, right, for doctors and all that stuff. So it's not about the money. The guy has the ability to do it. Does he need to spend $2 million? Well, maybe right away. Maybe now. Maybe not in the future. But that's not a big deal in my view. $2 million. Hey, man, if every billionaire could just spend $2 million and they're all suddenly 18-year-old, they would do it in a heartbeat. But that's not what's going on. There's something much deeper and much more real what Bryan Johnson is doing. So Bryan Johnson, 45, he made his fortune in his 30s when he sold his payment processing company, Braintree Payment Solutions, to eBay for $800 million in cash. He's touting a daily routine that he says has given him the heart of a 37-year-old, the skin of a 28-year-old, and the lung capacity and fitness of an 18-year-old. This guy's got an 18-year-old heart. Johnson has a team, not Bryan Johnson from AC/DC, but Bryan Johnson from here, has a team of 30 doctors and regenerative health experts overseeing his regimen. 30 doctors, 30. His goal is to eventually have all his major organs, including his brain, liver, kidneys, teeth, skin, hair, penis, and rectum, functioning as they were in his late teens, Johnson said. The initiative, known as Project Blueprint, requires Johnson to abide by a strict vegan diet amounting to 1,977 calories per day. That's a 2,000 calorie per day diet. That's not much. That's not a lot of eating. Guys like, what was that kid, Michael Phelps? He was eating like 12,000 calories a day. So our athlete, Bryan Johnson, is eating about 2,000 calories a day, vegan style. A daily exercise regimen that lasts an hour. Not true, lasts more than an hour. All right, we're going to get into the details because I read through it already. High intensity exercise 3 times a week and going to bed every night at the same time. All right, so here he is. Let's let the pictures speak. He's a 45-year-old guy. He's got a good hairline. He looks like his eyes are wide open. There's the body of the 45-year-old. We're going to see more of his body. There he is doing a little talk in 2017. Johnson wakes up every morning at 5 a.m., takes 24 supplements, works out for an hour, drinks green juice laced with creatinine and collagen peptides. All right. So why did he do this? Listen to this before we find out why he did it. While sleeping, Johnson is hooked up to a machine that counts the number of nighttime erections. Right? Bang, erections. He also takes daily measurements of his body weight, body mass index, body fat, blood glucose levels, and heart rate variations. So he does a lot of that. So as a disclaimer, I'm not just the mild-mannered one-tooth reporter. I'm also a experienced clinical nutritionist and an expert in mindfulness meditation, for lack of a better term. So I've been around this stuff, since I was 17. When I was 17 years old, I was Bryan Johnson. I was experiencing that sense of euphoric wellness that comes with perfecting one's diet and exercise regimen. And I went on to pursue a bachelor's degree in nutrition, and somewhere along the line I got lost. I suspect that the thing that I lacked, not that they lacked, but I lacked, was the meditation leg of that. Without proper mindfulness concentration, I don't think a lot of it is possible. But Bryan Johnson is sort of proving that he uses a sense of Cats of Philly Camden says vanity. No, I'm not saying vanity. I'm putting out on the record because people will say, this guy, you don't know what the fuck he's talking about. No, I do know what I'm talking about because I had 6 years clinical nutrition experience. That's worth something. Right? I've been around hospitals. I've worn the white coat. I've, elbowed with doctors. So I'm just putting on the record that in terms of the nutritionist aspect of what we're going to talk about here, I know what I'm looking at because I just told you why I know what I'm looking at. So he does all kinds of whack things. He gets up at 5 a.m., eats a bunch of pills. He's got a monitor on his dick. Erections he wears a helmet that monitors his mindfulness in some way. It's some sort of meditation, a helmet. Right? He draws all his blood every once in a while. They're in his ass, doing colonoscopies. Johnson said that his interest in pursuing eternal youth was triggered by a severe downturn in his mental and physical health before he sold Braintree to eBay. Johnson told Bloomberg News he was overweight, depressed, and nearly suicidal, a result of an accumulation of stress and working long hours. Ding, 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 ding. Bryan Johnson figured it out. He saw his own death He saw his own pending death at 45 years old, or whatever, how old, 37, 30s. In his 30s, he realized that, my God, I'm fat. I'm full of stress. I'm depressed. I want to jump out the fucking window because life sucks. And here's a guy with $800 million in his pocket, cash. Right? And he still wasn't happy. Right? There's something wrong with that, right? Because if it's not money, if it's not material gain, then what is it? What is it that makes one content? So he discovered it at that age, and there's in his own words, overweight, depressed, nearly suicidal. He has a 29-year-old doctor that leads up his team. I don't frown on the guy for using $2 million worth of doctors and biometric measures to try to prove your youth and longevity, right? Because that's what the medical profession wants to see. They want to see numbers. How did you reduce your heart rate from, your resting pulse from 70 down to 41? How did you do that? It's not by, just paying someone to do it, paying some jack-off doctor to do it for you. He did it himself. The things that he's doing, the extreme cardio, extreme attention to diet and sleep patterns and not getting caught up into the bullshit of the world. He talks about that in his video where he says he doesn't necessarily watch podcasts or read news because it creates a negative energy that stays with him that he'd rather not have. So he is understanding karma, the nature of it is what you digest. It's not just food. It's everything that you digest that is coming up in the present moment. Everything you've digested in the last 6 months inescapably is coming up at you right now. You are experiencing your karma for if it's depression, if it's obesity, if it's anxiety, if it's fear, if it's doubt. The way you've been living your life over the last 6 months is causing it. And if you change those behaviors over the next 6 months, those things go away. They go away. It's not rocket science. Right? But what is the way? What is the right way? Well, again, we're studying Bryan Johnson, and we're gonna steal from him because we really want to know. None of us can spend this kind of money and use this kind of acuity on ourselves because we don't have the cash. All right. If we can eventually prove clinically and statistically that Bryan has made the changes, then it will be such a large effect, be such a large effect size that it will have to be causative of the intervention. What the hell are you talking about? Right? What are you talking about? You don't. First of all, here's his diet. You don't need to prove quantitatively anything. You need to look with your own eyes. Believe your eyes. You have a man who is depressed, who is obese, who wants to jump off the building that he lives on, and he's got $800 million in the bank, and he's miserable, right? Overweight, miserable. And then suddenly, by doing certain things, this is what you get. An enlightened being ready to tear it up. Right? That's the measure of wellness. The measure of wellness is when someone sits quietly before you and you know that there's something uplifting about what this person is experiencing. You don't have to know it. You know how you can find out? Surround that person with children. Children are amazing, have amazing reception to real joy and happiness, right? Put a kid around a happy dog, a 2-year-old dog, and a dog's wagging, and the kids are elated with joy. Put those kids around a miserable, fat, depressed, ugly cunt teacher in kindergarten, right? I'm sorry, I used the C word. And you'll have miserable children, right? Anger, fucking solving everything with anger, screaming at the kids, sit down, mother effer, well, I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to the principal's office and you're going to get spanked, right? So children are a great receptor of longevity. That should be the test, Brian. Go surround yourself with 20 kids. I was a kid, I played guitar. I used to play on the subway. And kids were my favorite audience. When kids would come, right, and there's like parents dragging the kids around. Kids are fucking miserable, man. Kids don't want to be dragged around in New York City on the subway, sit on the subway. And then they come across you, and you're playing guitar, singing these childlike songs, and they just open up. They come, they sit in front of you, and suddenly the parents give you $20 because you entertain their kids. But kids know, they know authenticity, and they know. I don't know why I'm talking about that, but but I'm talking about it because what is the true measure of this experience? This experience of enlightenment. Like we talked to the quote Buddhist teacher a few weeks ago, and we found out that the Buddhist community, most of them, consider this type of awareness, aka enlightenment, as something not real, unattainable in this lifetime. Right? That's widely accepted, widely propagated thought in the Buddhist communities, where the Buddha, the teacher, is saying, no, it's possible right now. So again, to thine self be true, to thine self prove it. So here's his diet, some of it anyway. And let's keep moving. Let's keep it moving. He's 18 years old again. Let's watch his video. We'll skim through his video and you see
50 milligrams of vitamin C.
Here he is in the morning eating. We're just gonna skim through his video because it is fascinating. You should. I'll put the link in there if you want to watch the whole thing. I won't play the whole thing because it's 37 minutes, but it's good. And there's the link if you want to watch it. Let's watch a little bit of it.
Because it increases absorption. But I drink just a little water.
In the quote in the chat, Kazaphilly Camden says, "What else does this guy do with his life?" Right. All he does is take care of himself. How boring. How empty. Right. All he does is take care of himself, and doesn't he get the cash and prizes? Well, maybe, and thank you for sharing that. I'm not making fun of you. Maybe there's something more there. Maybe there's something beyond the cash and prizes. That's the point. That is the point. That you don't see it until you experience it. When you experience it, then you say, "Oh my God, what a waste of time! I've been wasting my goddamn life." That's so. But thanks for that comment.
I charge my device, so I don't have to think about it ever again. I've tried to do things so that I don't have to think about making any action. And now let's start the meditation and some light therapy. This is something new I've been trying. We've been trying for the past 2 weeks, this light therapy. So I meditate. And then as I meditate, I do some light therapy. And then
I don't know why it's got that loud music on. The music's disturbing. But anyway, I see in the comments a lot of people think he's very obsessive and such. And I partially agree with that. But he has people helping him. He's not really thinking much. He's just following a regimen of something, right? And you can do it too, is the point.
I finish with HRV training with this polar strap.
Excellent questions and the excellent comments in the chat. Thank you so much for putting that stuff up. So he's got his fucking $50,000 meditation helmet. Well, as he progresses, because he's got 50 grand to spend it, you don't need to do that. Meditation it doesn't cost anything really, just some time, and not even really, because you can do it while you're doing other things.
Alright, that's complete. Let's see what the results are. Surprisingly accurate. I have a 10 out of 10 readiness score today.
All right, so he's totally obsessed with numbers, right? Here he is making some kind of pre-workout drink.
We get 20 grams of peptides, collagen. 2 tablespoons of spermidine. It oxidizes, so it needs to be in an airtight container.
It's like witchcraft.
500 milligrams of cacao for the flavonols, increases nitric oxide.
200 milligrams of snake eye.
Blood flow to the heart and brain.
4 milligrams of the blood of the Zeus.
A teaspoon of cinnamon.
Eye of Newt. So he's got all kinds of shit going into his drink. Chris Milk says he's happy because he has no wife.
If it's disgusting.
He's happy because he has no wife.
It's not. It's
He has a life, but no wife.
delicious. Maybe I'm trained to think so, but I love this drink. I will do a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil.
Let's bounce ahead a little bit. What else is he gonna do? So now he takes his drink, and now he's ready to exercise.
See, Jefferson today has
The guy's ready to go.
tip bar, calf raises, ankle rotation, straight calf leg raises, standing leg lifts, butterflies, and quill. All right.
It's hard to understand him. He's kind of mumbling. I think he's got a British accent. I'm not sure.
Label out A1, A2, B, C, D, E1, E1, E2, F.
All right, let's get to it, man. Come on, show us some work. So he's totally obsessed. He's doing his whole routine. He's trying to figure it out, man. He doesn't know, right? He's sailing into the abyss. He's sailing into the abyss. He's in uncharted ground. Give the guy a break.
No.
There's music playing in the background. We can't have that on YouTube.
Should I work out? Do I feel well enough to work out? Should I do this rep or not this rep? It's decided for me. It's done. And eliminating my choice has been. If we can't measure it,
And then he does some kind of skincare. But here, I want you to listen to this, right? So after he does all this stuff, right? He's eating. His diet is like fucking. You want to see what his diet is? Here he is, the veggie diet. Here's his veggie diet. This is what he eats: broccoli, cauliflower.
300 grams of black lentils.
It's like vegetable puree.
We'll put it on a low simmer because it'll take me about 20 minutes to shower and get all of my skincare done. And then by the time I come down, it'll be warm, and then we'll go sit down. And it will be peace and joy as we eat super veggie and think about the day, and particularly the most important things that I want to accomplish and be thinking about. I really don't like listening to podcasts or news or anything, because in doing that, I really I absorb that energy.
Yep.
And then I become that energy.
Okay.
So whatever it is.
Brian, we can help you with that. I do this, and I stand in the eye of the storm every day. I could help you with that.
I really want to be in my own mind and focus on the things, and then after this point in the morning, that I can open up and I guess, expose myself to different energy sources. But
You can do anything you want as long as you don't take it personal.
the morning, I have to keep it very stable. It probably makes sense to get some time for the stuff to dry.
All right, so he's doing all his skincare,
Programs,
but I want you to listen to this right here. This is when he talks about the feeling of wellness. The feeling of wellness. Let's listen.
an increased level of precision. So he eats it every day. Boom.
So there he is eating his puree.
I'm glad he does that.
He's an interesting guy, right?
You know, the deeper you go in a given thing, the closer you get to, I don't want to call it the truth, because I don't know if there is a truth, but
There is a truth.
if the statement is that chocolate's good for you, that's level 1. Level 2 is it's dark chocolate's good for you. And then level 3 is a certain kind of dark chocolate that doesn't have heavy metals in it. And so every time you go down a layer, you find increased levels of precision.
Correct. See, he's experiencing something. He is experiencing something. He's experiencing the benefit of his actions. He gets up at 5 a.m. He takes off his penis monitor, whatever, right? And he does his little meditation and his severe exercise and swallows a lot of pills. And now he's having his breakfast, and now he's experiencing as he say, an increased level of precision in his life. That's his experience. This is the measure of does it work, not the math, not the blood sample. It's what are you experiencing?
So instead of just like, oh, chocolate's good for you, a Snickers bar must be in part good for you. I've learned to never accept the first statement about a given thing.
Yep.
There's always a few levels to dig.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
And even then, you know, you're not certain you landed. It's just you're probably in a better spot than you did before you started.
If this guy was some schmuck that just paid $2 million to a bunch of doctors, and then you looked at him and he was some fat slob saying, yeah, I feel pretty good, man. There's only $2 million. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I wouldn't be talking about him. He is experiencing a sense of inner awakening through his practice of diet and exercise, period. All right? Can it be increased or decreased? You know, can it be increased through meditation practices? Of course it can, but maybe he doesn't need that. Maybe the exercise, because he exceeds the 1 hour of cardio exercise. After an hour, your mind shuts off. You're not thinking when you're running for an hour. After an hour, if you've ever done distance running, after an hour, not even, sometimes 40 minutes, you're not thinking. You're just, you enter a kind of a euphoria zone, a zone of effortlessness, clarity, right? And you're not doing anything other than running, right? So that's almost, that in itself is a high form of meditation, right? You're not even doing, all you're doing is showing up for it, right? So, and it happens. Or yoga. Yoga is the same thing.
Finished with, so I guess for breakfast, I have super veggie, a drink, and photons that give life. Are living in the 21st century, what should we really be thinking about? And my mind continually goes to what will those who are intelligent that exist in the year 2500, whatever that form of intelligence is, when they look back, what mattered in the 21st century? And of course it will be obvious to them at that time, like it is when we look back at the 1600s or 1700s or 1800s.
Hindsight.
And that's the kind of clarity I try to have every day. It's very hard because you have, kind of have to like.
Right there. He needs to. It's not hard, right? It's only hard because you're trying too hard. It's actually not hard at all, per se. Enlightenment. It's not hard. It's when you're actively trying to accomplish something, that's where it becomes hard. If you give up the expectation of what you're trying to accomplish and stick to the feeling of wellness, then it's easy.
Go through the gauntlet of your mind. Your mind is always trying to knock you off track.
Correct, yeah.
And it's trying to ring the alarm bells of like, hey, think about this or think about that, or this is urgent. And it's quieting the mind and really trying to isolate those things. And it's trying to see outside all the norms that become the boundary conditions for your thoughts.
Talk about it, Bryan.
And yeah, I think Kernel has that potential. We've built technology ahead of its time, and the Blueprint also has that kind of potential.
How many people you know at 10 a.m. in the morning are sitting on their couch in their home with this level of clarity and joy? Now you say, oh, well, because he's got $2 million, or he spent $2 million. But do you really need $2 million to wake up and eat vegetable puree and start to exercise? You could take, all those supplements, tons and tons of supplements. They don't really help. They help you if you think they help you, but you can swallow 100 pills a day. And then you know what? When you go to the bathroom and you take a piss, it's yellow because you piss all that out. Your body will absorb what it needs and leave the rest. It doesn't absorb more. Right? It doesn't absorb more. So you don't really need a lot of that. What you need is the aspiration, the intention of doing it. Right? Show up, wake up, same time, meditate, eat the right food, do the exercise, even if mind says, "Oh, I'm tired today. I'm gonna take a day off." You do it. You do it, and you reap the relief. When you do these things, you get the relief from common suffering. You don't sit in a doctor's office waiting for some doctor to tell you what's wrong with you, and suddenly you think you're going to swallow a pill and walk out the door and be fine. That is insanity. If you think Bryan Johnson is insane for doing what he's doing, way more insane is taking a doctor's fucking prescription and going home and swallowing the pill thinking you got it all figured out, like you took care of yourself. You are going to die.
Reimagining our relationship with aging and health and time. And we really could be on the cusp of something dramatically different and better of an existence than what is today. Look,
to me, and again, if you think I'm tooting my own horn, I'm telling you from experience, right? Nutrition experience and the meditation. What Bryan Johnson is talking about, he's verbalizing an experience that millions of people have had. Buddhist monks are experiencing it right now. What does the Buddhist monk do? He wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He hits the meditation cushion. He eats his vegan breakfast, and he sits out, maybe does yoga, walking meditation. Some of them run. They're doing all of that for less. The real expense here is your time. Because a vegan diet is arguably cheaper than a meat-based diet. Exercise is free. You don't need fucking weights. But what I'm trying to say is what he is experiencing is not, it's not very, very far out there at all. It's just that he's a rich white guy vocalizing it, and then they look at the monk in the monastery, over there in Thailand, and say, "Oh, this guy's a freak. This guy's an extremist." No, he's not. He doesn't need anything. Those guys, those monks, they don't need anything. They're happy to sit on the grass and smile and breathe in and out. They figured it out, right? And you'd say to yourself, material mind says, "Well, they don't have anything. The guy's got is a robe. He's just got a robe. What the fuck? That's what he's doing with his life. He sits on a cushion and with a robe. How boring." But you're not hearing. You're not understanding what's being said. If that's your perception, you're not understanding what's being said. That there's something past that. When you get the thinking, grasping, mind out of the way, there's something enormously more interesting and more fulfilling. And it's not limited. It's unlimited. It's the opposite of what you think. There's no constraint on it.
I mean, life is tough. I mean, it's brutal being human. And
see, this guy suffered. This guy suffered. That's why he's experiencing it, because he knows that the money didn't solve anything. 800 million. He was fat and suicidal and depressed, right? And he snapped out of it. So this is not a depressed man. This is not a suicidal man. This is not a obese man. He solved his problem. He solved his problem. Whether it took him $2 million or 2 cents, he solved his problem.
Imagine and hope that there's got to be a better way to do this than what's going on now. And we have, it's not a baseless thought. We have this infrastructure of technology and institutions and the emergence of all these things together that could make it possible if we could just aspire to it. Mm-hmm. And I guess aspire to it means we'd have to dare mm-hmm. to we have to dare to go after something that we can't actually identify. Right.
You're swimming, you're flying into the abyss. Right? What he's doing, he's asking, in my opinion, he's asking doctors for signs of wellness. He's asking the wrong people. If he would turn his attention to the people that do wellness for a living, like people like Thich Nhat Hanh and the other meditation people, that's what they do. They tell you they could solve depression. Oh, depression, that's an easy one. 6 weeks, gone. Never, no sign of it, gone. So
that's, I think, the most difficult thing is we create goals and aspirations in life based upon things we can model out.
Right.
We can see other people do it, and we then want to do it. It's very hard to model out something brand new that's never been done or never been experienced or never been talked about or doesn't have words to it. It's very hard to imagine those kinds of things. And so it's a problem of articulating this aspiration. It's a problem of getting people to also share in the aspiration. It's more of this emergent feeling that things could be better in unknown ways.
This is what enlightenment looks like, okay? This is the unfolding, the peeling away of the onion. You take an unhealthy millionaire and you turn him into a rock star, into a person who could sit on the couch comfortably and the world outside could fall apart and he's okay. He's going to rise above the whole thing. And one day he'll raise his gaze a little bit and he'll walk out into the world. And he'll be fine. He'll be untouchable, really, if he's not already.
And typically, when people get into that kind of thought process and they imagine what the future could be like, minds drift to dystopias, in a fraction of a second. Mm-hmm. And I'm not suggesting that utopia is the way to contemplate this. There's a practical way to think about the possibilities. But it's like a gauntlet to try to navigate through the dystopia, to also have practical mindedness that utopia is not necessarily maybe the thing to put your target on, but practically trying to navigate this thing, and then through all the chaos of the day and the responsibilities,
And there's where his critical mind kicks in, where he's trying to figure it out. That's the tragedy, right? So anyway, that's all I wanted to say about this guy, Bryan Johnson. My God, what a fan! I am a fan. Here's his website, blueprintbryanjohnson.co.co. Here, I'll drop it into the link for you if you want to check it out, man. So I'm glad I found this guy. That's me talking. That's me talking about him. Shut up. That's me talking about him. So thank you everybody for joining me. Let's look at the markets. Holy shit, we're open. Ding, bang, boom. Oh my God. Time to get out of the enlightenment bubble and look at the money. Oh my God. Oh yes, green. Can you say green? Can you say green? Because green makes us happy. The more green, the happier we'll be. Right? Our lives will improve. Nasdaq is up 129. Bing, nice. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 30. S&P 500 up 23. Fourth quarter GDP beats forecast to cap resilient 2022 quarter. So the last quarter of GDP came in better than expected, expanded 2.9%. Wall Street loves that. So the numbers are looking good. And look at the result. All green. We're a green. We're green where it matters. Apple up $1.80. I know people pissing and moaning about their Apple getting slaughtered. Up $1.80 to $143. Amazon up $192. Google up $1.50. Meta up $266. Microsoft bouncing off its 9-point drop yesterday, up 3. Tesla, the great Tesla, up 10% today. Elon Musk knocking his skin off the ball. Rivian up to 18. I told you, accumulated 16. It's 1880 right now. It's going up. It's going up. Lockheed Martin, $1. The military industrial complex, you know what? Screw them. Who cares about you, man? The bomb makers and the vaccine makers. I ain't covering you guys anymore. Fuck you, man. You're on your own. So thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. I thought he was an interesting guy. In retrospect, I think that that it is we didn't really discover anything, groundbreaking. I don't think his $2 million in biometrics and studying his, the chemistry of his body really matters as much as that last few minutes when he finishes his endeavor, his work. You could see a glow. There's something has changed in him. There's a psychic change that has occurred. Right? And that's the thing that's elusive, right? It's there, and if you don't hone it and continue to polish it and treat it well, it turns into a pile of shit, right? Enlightenment or the feeling of wellness can turn into extreme anger and frustration if you don't continue. See, that's the thing they don't tell you in meditation centers, is that it's once you experience it, right? You're a customer, right? When I was 17, when I experienced an uplifting feeling from doing this diet and exercise thing, it was like, I don't know why. Wow, how did I find? Why me? Why do I feel so good? And I'm looking at people around me killing themselves, right? And then I thought it was permanent. I thought, oh well, I figured it out. I could do whatever I want. And then you fall into bad patterns and behaviors, and you lose it. It's gone. It's like, where did it go? So it's discipline to oneself, right? Finding what works and continuing to do it in a changing, evolving process. Not getting locked in. I must eat. I must eat 12, boiled potatoes every day, or I won't make it. No, just listen to your body. Your body will tell you what to do. So anyway, thank you all for joining me. My name is Mark Scotty, and really, man, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because I love finding guys like that. I love it, man. I love it. If there's anybody, experiencing those sorts of things, right? That's what it's all about, right? Enough of this being miserable. Right? I'm not with it anymore. Miserable people, miserable, angry, disgruntled, fucking everything sucks. We're all gonna die. Snap out of it. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break, man. Marcus Conte reporting.